Welcome to the Queen Divas, Queens of Fitness podcast. Join your hosts, three-time WBFF World Champions and WBFF royalty, Alicia Gowans and Stephanie Ayala McHugh, as we explore all things female health, training, competing, mindset, and living the fitness life every day.
So welcome back after a few weeks of no podcast. We're bringing to you the latest episode of the Queen Divas podcast with the beautiful co-host of mine and five-time world champ, Stephanie Ayala McHugh. I'm so glad to see your face on the other side of the screen today.
It's so good to see you on this screen right now, guys. We do this on Zoom and we actually have this on YouTube. So any of you listeners that just want to kind of see Alicia's face, she's getting leaner. I could see this face.
You can see it in my face, right?
Oh yeah. Like, I can see that face starting to lean out. It's because Alicia does hold it a little more in her face. Like I can always tell
and I'm blessed with this. So for everyone listening, I don't get fillers in my cheeks and shit.
No, you got that natural filler, girl.
I have a really full, I call it my big fat moon face when I'm in off season because I have a big fat moon face. But when I come into stage, do you know what the blessing from that, really good natural collagen production is?
The fullness in your face.
A great face.
Yeah.
And it's natural. And I love that.
It is. I've always loved that about your face, though. Your cheeks always sit so high, nice and full. They don't get depleted and sunken into that zombie look.
I don't get the skeletal look. I get cheekbones for the first time in however many years.
You get a little shape around that. Yeah, contour, that natural contour that you naturally have.
And you notice with my chin, I've actually got quite a heart-shaped face, right? But the difference is when I'm in off-season, I get the moon face because my face fills out. But when I cut in, I get this little heart-shaped point to my chin. My daughter has it too, but she has it all year round because she doesn't have my moon face.
Well, besides your moon face, how's your body, woman? How are you feeling? Catch us up on this prep.
Oh my God.
Prep to AC. How are you doing?
So I've been talking about this. I've been pretty open because everyone has just asked me, so many questions and I get so much inboxes about it that I'm like, all right, I'll just share freaking everything. So I am, and I'm sharing everything with my team. And I apologize to everyone listening to this. I still haven't caught my voice back from the show. We had the show on the weekend, the massive big Australian show, which was the hugest show of the year.
What an amazing
and it was phenomenal. And we had so much fun and our team did exceptionally well. So massive shout out to all of my team that's listening to this. They were incredible. I was so proud of them, but I have not stopped yelling that whole weekend. So my voice is still making a comeback. And I think because I'll segue into this because of the fact that I'm on such low calories and I'm doing so much output that my immune system is compromised. Every single bodily function is, happening at a much lower level than usual. Everything's down regulating. I can't avoid it. It just is what it is because I got to push through and get this last bit off me. So even something as simple as losing my voice from, overuse, it's taking ages for it to actually heal and come back. And I think someone in our house had a little bug and I think we might have both been fighting it off, Jacinta and I, and it's just been a sore throat and that lack of ability to catch my voice back. So for everyone listening to this, I apologize. I don't know.
No, you sound fine, Ali. You do not sound like you don't have that raspiness or anything, and you don't have a cold or any type of issue with your speaking.
That's actually a good point that I will make though, is that, anyone that has followed me for a long time knows that I supplement quite minimalistically, I should say. I have very minimal sup range because my food usually is my primary focus for my micronutrients above and beyond anything else. But in this prep, I've had to actually expand the range of things I'm consuming because I knew my dig was going to be far deeper, far harder, far more aggressive. I was going to be jumping down into acute levels of EA, which I never normally do. And I had to be prepared for it because I could not, I didn't have time to be sick. I could not allocate any downtime because I'm literally to the wire the whole way through for this prep. So for anyone listening to this that maybe has missed past episodes, I'll catch you up. I had a baby 17 weeks ago. He came via C-section after year and a bit of really long IVF journey that saw my entire body composition change. I went into the pregnancy with more body fat on me because I needed to put it on before my transfer would take. I had to gain over 10% body fat on my normal, you know, sort of walk around, happy little off season, you know, basis. So went through all of that before I even hit the pregnancy, managed my pregnancy really well, didn't put on very much at all, just the minimal amount that was required. So 9 kilos in total. After I had him, walked out of the hospital 4 kilos down, still had that 5 kilos or so on me. Now, the issue was, it was a C-section. And so I could not actually start, I couldn't do a single thing until 6 weeks post. So he's only 17 weeks old. At 6 weeks post, I got clearance to do some body weight, basic bitch shit, right? Like it was real basic bitch shit. And so for the next 4 weeks, that's all I could do. I did not get cleared to progressively load and start actually lifting normally until he was 12 weeks old. So I've actually only been lifting, progressively loading for 5 weeks now. This is insane. I'm on stage in 4 weeks. Anyone listening to this? Like I listen to myself and I'm like, you need therapy, lady. Like, I can't believe you actually signed yourself up for this shit. But in my defense, when I calculated the dates out, I thought I'd have 16 weeks, right? 16 weeks of dieting, 16 weeks of proper training. I thought I'd have that. Then I find out halfway through the, you know, post-section, C-section healing that I've got another 6 weeks where I could do anything. So it's been a hell of a journey. I was also managing breastfeeding. So I didn't drop my calories aggressively straight away. I kept them higher. The benefit was this though, Steph, I actually am super freaking healthy, even though I'm deep in these trenches, way more aggressive than I'd ever be usually. And I'm also, which I love, I recomped. So in that first sort of, I don't know, maybe 6 to 10 weeks, I changed my composition favorably with more lean tissue. So my weight wasn't really moving at all. Like, it was starting to do my freaking head in for about 4 weeks.
Oh, I know. The freaking, the scale.
Yeah, but my mills and my girths were coming down and you could visibly see conditioning starting to come through, right? So this is where, again, we touch on the fact that scales aren't everything. They're just one tool in the toolkit, right? But I was recomping. So this prep has just been wild. It's been fucking hectic different.
Like more than different. That's just everything that you just explained, you know, for listeners that most of you have been following the podcast and are aware, you know, of her postpartum journey. But what the biggest thing here is the fact that most normal competitors would have said as an excuse,
no, wait for
not enough time, right? I'll wait for the next show. But you know what Ali did? She signed herself up before she was
doubled down.
Yeah, absolutely. You had to double down.
Double down,
right? Yeah. Like, she had committed to this show at the beginning of the year and she was set on it. And I love this because she's still going through. She didn't just back out and say, oh, this injury, this recovery, this surgery, this pregnancy, you know, I'm just not going to be my best. Well, she knows she's not going to bring her best, but she knows that she's going to achieve what she set herself out to do.
100%. And look, like, you know what? I dragged out my old data, right? From right before Worlds in 2019. My legs are bigger, my glutes are bigger, as in I have more mass, right? Which is great.
That's all a win-win.
I'm probably about 2 weeks behind in measurements and everything where I would have been at that same time at that show. So like when I say I'm not going to bring my best, I'm not going to bring my best in the sense where I'm probably going to be a couple of weeks shy of improving on 2019. But don't be misled, people. I'm bringing a crown-worthy winning.
Oh, absolutely, Ellie. You're not going to bring
misled.
No, what I say is I know
I
Ellie,
have a false sense
not going to bring
audience
her best. Because her best means she needs actual time to go back into progressive loading the way this girl's a beast. Like, if you've ever trained with Allie, you've seen her train, especially coming from a broken back, like this alone is impressive to her be able to do the things that she was able to do before the pregnancy. So then leading into the pregnancy, of course, she had to scale back her intensities, had to be very, very particular with her movements throughout the pregnancy. And then even she just explained the postpartum side was a quite bit of a, you know, headache for her because she was expecting herself to be able to immediately go back into training and start prep.
But
the nutrition side of things.
I was so naive. I was just like, yeah, okay. So from all the research I've done, 6 weeks, I'll be fine, straight back in. But what I didn't anticipate was that he would be sitting on one side predominantly, crushing a nerve. He's affected my oblique sling, so I had to do rehab on that. So my core wasn't even activating properly because of the oblique sling weakness on my right side. Like, I had to do all this work, right? So even when I got the clearance, well, we started to do it before the clearance for the progressive load so that I would be able to hit the progressive load safely a little faster. But even then, it was still a couple of weeks into it before I could actually start testing the waters on my strength. And then the issue is, as you start getting that stability and, capacity back, your calories are dropped so freaking low that then you're like, oh my God, I am dragging my ass up through my mouth to try to lift this weight right now. Like, I have got no fuel. I'm running on fumes. I have some days though where I think pure adrenaline gets me through, and I'm so determined to prove everyone wrong, and I'm so determined to bring something.
The vision though. You have your focused freaking vision.
Yeah, so I have a bit of tunnel vision.
Is like on set. You have this light switch turned on. This is what competitors don't get. Like, if you don't switch the freaking actual switch on and don't literally look around, behind, ahead, like, you just literally nail it. Ali is proving that. She wants to prove something, not just to herself, but to everybody.
To everyone. I want to prove that even in the most challenging situations, and even in, moments where you question your ability, if you don't fail to believe that you can do it, and that and I was having this conversation with a client this morning, this is the way I approach it. So if anyone wants a little 5-second insight into my crazy freaking brain for a moment, this is it. I do not ever look at the finish line. So I do not ever go, December 3rd.
This is the
way my head works day to day, right? Okay. So I never look at December 3rd and think about my last physique and look at my current physique and go, big gap, won't make it, right? I never do that. I also don't know who's getting on stage with me, and I don't give a fuck. No cares given, right? Doesn't matter. Right. That's not my race to worry about. I'm only worried about what I'm doing. But what I do every single day is I get up every single day and I think, right, what have I got to achieve today? What are my targets? I got my 20,000 step count. I've got to hit my gym session. My total calorie burn rate is this. I've got to hit cycle bar 3 times a week. I've got, my proactive release work I do with my yoga. I've got my corrective rehab work with physio Pilates. So I know what my week looks like, and my week is structured into days. I know what my weekly total calorie burn is going to be, and I know what my input's going to be. So I know the gap I need to make up in order to get rid of the body fat at the rate I need to lose it. So as long as I just tick the goddamn box every single day, I don't need to worry about the end, because as long as I'm channeled and I'm focused and I'm present and I'm engaged and I'm flexing for that particular day, then I'm good. Because those particular days, one by one, add up, and by 3rd of December, I'll be
100%. And that is how we take it day by day, you guys. Like, I literally can't stress how we have to take it daily, because when you accumulate it to weeks, it feels like it's rushed. You feel like, oh my God, it's right next door. It's tomorrow. 4 weeks out. Oh my God, you start freaking out, right? How many competitors do you have, Ali, that come to you and freak out 4 weeks out? I'm not ready. Oh my God. There's no way I'll be ready, right? Like, and if you break it down into days, and just exactly how I was even saying, 30 fucking days, y'all. Like,
I've actually said to a few of them, you're on more food than me. You step about 10K less than me. You got less body fat to lose than me. Do you hear me say one bad thing, or like I'm negative in any way about my capacity to bring my best? And they all go, no. And I'm like, right. So should you be worried? No. Okay, great. Let's keep going. Like, don't worry.
And that is one scenario. It's more of like exactly how you explain it. I love how you broke it down, trying to make it simplistic to somebody to get. Like, it's data, it's actual information that she's collecting to be able to assess that gap that she's trying to create from week to week. And if she has those numbers, she's able to essentially track these things.
Right.
She's going to be able to create enough progress rate between, let's say, 4 weeks from now to know this is my end goal. This is my end, obviously, target. And if she assesses herself, let's say, whatever her, weight is,
I will do my assessment on myself on a Sunday and then again midweek on the Wednesday. And I assess what's happened between Sunday and Wednesday, right? So let me just backtrack 1 second. The reason I think about my prep in those terms as a day by day ticking of my boxes and daily habits only is that I do not give room for stress, for unnecessary frustration and unnecessary freakouts, because all that's going to do is affect my sleep, affect my cortisol levels, and in turn affect my body's ability to burn body fat. So why would I do that to myself? Right?
Stress is the number one thing that makes all competitors start holding water. They worry too much, overthink, and stress about tomorrow when tomorrow's not even here. Right? Like it's not even guaranteed. Heck, you might not even wake up tomorrow, you guys. Like God may say, you know what, this is your last day. And I'm being honest, like I'm very about that. And I'm like, it's day by day. And if I really start freaking out about something, I do the same exact thing Ali's explaining. For both of us. It's exactly right. It's how to manage your anxiety, which is your stress levels. And also just knowing that there's tomorrow. Just today is literally one day at a time.
Exactly. And so that's how I approach every single day. And, you know, I will have very honest conversations with myself and my coaching team about the fact that, you know, I'm behind where I would normally sit, sure. But the more that we're tracking through these days and the more that I've gone deeper into this, you know, dig phase that we're in, the faster I'm starting to now change. And it's like, yeah, no, we're fine. We're going to be fine. And not only are we going to hit it, I might even surprise myself and bring something better than I thought I was going to bring, which is pretty cool.
I love that.
So it's good, right? I'm just focused on each individual day. And I've found ways to hack my days to get most out of it. We've had really bad weather here in Queensland lately. And so Jacinta has been amazing. She brought over her treadmill. She's in off season. She doesn't need it. So she's like, throw it on your back deck for a little while. So I've got a treadmill out there. And then I was like, man, my steps are 20,000. They're going up to 25,000.
20,000.
Going up to 25,000. I've never done this many steps.
Okay, did you guys just listen to the freaking crazy woman? She just said 20,000 steps and going up to 25,000 steps.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't recommend this to anyone. And this is not how I would ever prep my clients. So anyone listening to this, don't freak out. It's not how I coach.
Boy, I'm interested for this next podcast.
So you want to know what happens now? I said to Christos, like, all right, I take Bubby with me. So this is a question I get asked a lot. How am I doing with Bub? Well, let me tell you, he is the little man, is on my journey with me every day. He's on my chest for one of the hours, because there's 2 1-hour blocks and like a 30-minute block I do to get the steps in, right? So he's on my chest as a human weight vest for one of the hours every single morning when we walk the dogs, if it's not raining. And then he'll be in the pram usually for the afternoon walk because he falls asleep during that. So that's great. That's a kill 2 birds with 1 stone type deal, because I get him to sleep at the same time as doing my steps. Yeah. And then there's like the incidentals. Now, if I'm having an active day and it's not a lot of client interfacing on the phone, in the computer, in FaceTimes, I can get the rest of the steps without having to go outside for a walk, because I'll get them incidentally. If I don't though, and I'm client interfacing, what we've now done is Christos has bought from JB Hi-Fi this little desk that goes over the top of my treadmill.
I was about to say, you're doing the walking treadmill.
On my treadmill. So now I'm going to be working while I'm walking.
Hey,
how's that for bloody?
Okay, let me just tell you guys, she's going up to what, 25,000 steps, and there's so many people, and I know this is in her scenario too. She's had to cut back on cardio in some scenarios, like my own self, right, where you don't actually have to do that accumulative amount.
In a normal prep, I do not go over ever 10, 12,000 steps max.
Average. Exactly. That's
and
about.
I don't do cardio. Like I might in the final 6 weeks throw in a little bit of post weights bike for maybe,
or maybe a little hits, a little metcon session, if that.
That's it. Like I don't do it. So in this prep though, and I think I replied to this on my story because people have been asking me about it. It's weights, anywhere between sort of 45 to 60-minute sessions. Then it's post weights cardio for 30 minutes. On either a Stairmaster or a bike, or it's sled metcon style. Then on top of that, it is now, we've gone from what was 2 to now 3 cycle bar classes, which are 45-minute cycle spew sessions of death, where I burn anywhere between 450 and 650 calories, man. It's,
those are great
sessions. My God, it's like,
they're so bad. At least those are like, they're fun. Those are like the
only way that I would work that hard, right? Like is to be in that environment, in that group setting. So they're working.
Love that.
So I'm doing that as well. So you add that up, that's quite a lot of movement in a day. And like my average active calorie burn, when we started, I was looking for, and for most, so when I'm programming for clients, most clients, what we're looking for is a 500, like a 500 active
good
calorie
average, right? Like it's
500. It's
how many clients actually hit that number though?
Yep. So let's break this down, because a lot of people think they burn a lot more than what they really do.
Exactly.
In a actual weight session will only burn between 150 to 250 max calories. Are you listening to that? Is everyone listening to that? 150 to 250 max calories. And if you think you burn more, I urge you to go buy a polar heart strap, put it on your heart. Don't go wear a garment.
An actual like
put the actual polar onto your heart.
Yes.
And train. And let's see what you burn. But I'm telling you, you'll be shocked to know you'll probably only burn 150 to 150 calories. So my
I usually track this for resistance. So you're making a very good, just really good target there, because the fact that the average of 150 to 250, that's for actual resistance training.
That's for resistance
properly.
That's for your full
training.
That's for your full hour in the gym lifting weights, right? That's all you burn. Now, what you do though, is build some quality muscle. Now, quality muscle obviously burns more, fuel at rest than tissue. Burns more fuel at rest than anything else, right? So you want more of that. So you
don't want to be focused on burning calories during the resistance weight is what we're trying to say. Correct. But notice that amount is so much lower than what you're actually trying to accumulate.
So if you are trying to burn 500 calorie gap, which that's what most people should be doing in a prep process, their daily active calorie burn should be about 500. That's why normally we have a step count, because the step count will make part of that. Then you've got your training session, and then you may have to do maybe 10 minutes at the end of your weight session to burn that little bit extra, right? So for everyone listening, normally it's 500 calorie active burn for me. My active calorie burn went because we were obviously only 10-week prep. This is only a 10-week prep for me to stage. From the time I started to the time I get to stage is only 10 weeks. It's half of what I normally do. And I had a third extra body fat on me than I normally have. So I had twice as much to lose in half the amount of time. So we started my active calorie burn target at 750, which is a big hole for me. That's a lot more. Like for a girl that doesn't do cardio, that was like, oh wow, cardio no is now cardio.
How are you hitting these targets? How are you getting your cardio in? What's your cardio?
So now it's gone. Let me just add to this from 750 to 1100. I have to burn 1100 calories in my day.
This isn't cardio, you guys. This is excluding resistance training, because
this is the total. This is my total burn across the course of the whole day, and it includes everything, right? So
1100, you are insane.
Yes, it's intense. That's why I'm like, now you understand why I'm like, do as I say, not as I do, bitches, to all of my team, because they're not allowed to do this. I would never put them through
this. This is aggressive, you guys. But I love what she's really putting out there, because she's showing how hard she's committed and how really, again, this is tough. This is not easy.
This is the hardest one I've ever done.
This is way more excruciating on the body, the fatigue, the mental fogginess. I mean, overall, like she's having to exert so much more than she's intaking, and that is such a horrible feeling sometimes when you're trying to put it into
context for people. I'm literally burning every day just under the total amount of food I'm consuming, and that does not factor in my BMR. So what my body actually then needs, which is like double the amount that's being burnt in total. So it's a big hole, it's a big gap, and the gap is there so that I can drop these last 4 kilos. But
I do want to point something out, because we're mentioning how aggressive and how much she's burning.
It's not healthy.
It's not okay. Besides the fact that it's not healthy, let me bring this up, because so many people are gonna be like, "Oh, if Ali is I'm gonna try this out." Let me go
4 hours a day.
Like, yeah. But the thing is that you don't actually have the correct metabolic standpoint to start. She actually had such higher range she started with, so she's actually not in such unhealthy place yet. By the end of this prep, she's going to be suffering. Her immune system's going to be shot. She's already feeling the freaking back end of that. But the fact that she's able to start at a higher caloric intake, she was healthier for a lot longer time than she's been in a surplus per se.
So yes, I was just going to say, full surplus. Everyone listening to this, full surplus for 2 years.
2 years. I'm sorry.
This isn't like something short. I was in a full surplus for 2 years. I had my micronutrients completely optimized because we needed it, obviously, for the IVF and the pregnancy. Then I was breastfeeding. So even coming out of the back end, I have not had like a night out drinking. I have not eaten shit food. I've literally been, for everyone listening to this, this is, you know, what is enabling me to do it without falling apart. I've been on a structured, focused meal plan for 2 years in a surplus. But structured focus,
eating
micronutrients optimized,
focusing on her micronutrients for her pregnancy. She was able to go through her IVF process, obviously through her pregnancy, conceive and even recover and still obviously breastfeed. So she had to really focus on these high vitamin, very dense foods. And the fact that she was able to start again at that higher range allowed her to be a little more aggressive and go into this lower range. She can't stay here very long. She's only for this prep itself. She's getting to the end of the freaking, you know, tunnel here in the stage. And what I want to say is if anyone starts at a chronic diet already and has been maybe dieting before, you would never be able to do this. If anything, you were going to just look like a freaking buffalo, like water buffalo, because you're going to look so inflamed, so water retained, because what she's doing is actually being effective because she had higher body fat levels. She was in a surplus and was in a healthy marker, a range with her panel before she started this.
And then I also did all of my blood work at the very start to see where I had vitamin or mineral deficiencies, if I had any, and any enzymes perhaps that were not, you know, where they should be, if I had any issues with my blood. So, you know, was I fighting anything? Did I have any overgrowths? Like I tested everything, right? So everyone listening to this, I didn't just like, I knew this was going to be aggressive for me, like, and way more aggressive than I would ever let anyone else do. And largely because mentally, this is not an easy process. Like most people.
No, that's exactly what I was saying.
Like this is a big mental game, and legitimately most people would crumble. Most people would not do this and not be able to do this. And I wouldn't wish it
this mark and they would quit though, Ali. That's the thing that I wanted to mention next is the fact that because they don't know what they're going to end up looking like. You already mentioned, like you're dealing it day by day, but they would have quit because they don't want to know what the end is going to look like because they don't believe in themselves. You believe in your day to day, you believe in your process, and you believe in your abilities in your work ethic, and which is you're going to get there and you're going to be badass on that stage.
I'm determined to be. I'm determined to be. So when I did all this testing and then we tested again, you know, halfway through this whole block of dieting, just to make sure that I was, you know, not lagging in anything, because you really open yourself up for immune suppression big time when you start doing what I'm doing. So, you know, like I said before, I mentioned earlier, I've got some things that I'm taking that I wouldn't normally have taken. Like there's a tablet I'm taking for the production of stomach bile to make sure that my stomach bile is, you know, at the level that it should be. So I don't have any issues with motility, absorption of nutrients and everything else. I'm also taking a liposomal, which is the most highest absorbable way to basically take vitamin C and glutathione, which is a detoxification pathway hormone. So I'm taking those. I'm taking a really heavy duty magnesium and zinc. So for repair, recovery, and aiding in my sleep, which will be affected when you go into quite a big deficit. I'm also supporting my overall immune function. I'm taking NAC. Like I said, it looks like this big long laundry list of things. And, you know, they're not things that are absolutely imperative for everyone to take, and they're not necessary for everyone to take, but given my circumstances and where I was sitting, and then my test results came back and my glutathione was a little low. And there were a couple of things that from a mineral point of view, I was low on. We needed to increase my body's ability to absorb those minerals and then have them present in my diet. So, you know, I've really approached this really meticulously. And I think that's the main reason why I'm not breaking down yet. I am still, my skin and my hair and everything still looks amazing. And I feel good still, you know, like I'm not going to lie. I'm hungry ass bitch. I am like angry, but it's manageable. It's still manageable. And I still have energy. And I think the energy is a little bit adrenaline, but it's also because what I'm eating is so good. Like I've got specifically timed meals. I'm hitting them with consistency. I'm making sure that you know, I have the most highest, you know, bioavailability protein sources. I am making sure I'm hitting my fruits, my fiber, and then I'm 100% having, you know, my omegas in my diet. So I'm rotating some of my sources. Like it is meticulous. What I have done is meticulous. And look, I've got a great team. I am collaborating with 2 of my peers that are exceptional, and they are giving me some really great guidance. And, you know, it's made such a profound difference in my results in the last 4 weeks. And Alex and I have sat down and already started to sort of discuss and map out my reverse, because literally, so for everyone listening to this is really important. I'm doing crazy shit, yes. But do you understand, the minute I get off stage on the Sunday, I'm already increasing right back to my maintenance calories, and I go straight into the recovery diet. Like it is all about regaining after that.
You have to
not staying there.
Plan. You have to have a plan for after the plan. And this goes to show, we've talked about this multiple times on our episodes about reverse dieting, about post-show, you know, about having an exit strategy and making sure that you actually have a game plan set before the show, not after the show when you're emotional and you want to just go party, or obviously go and have all the celebratory type of foods and just fill yourself up with all the donuts and cookies and baked
goods. Know what? I won't even eat that. I don't even eat, you know,
but
me.
Ali, I know you though, but that's you though. Like you didn't grow up eating it. I feel like there's a lot of relationship issues, right? Growing up from a lot of, you know, the ties to some of these disordered eating. And I call it disordered eating just because we don't realize it at the time that we actually have some of that bad relationship. It's not just bad relationships with certain foods. It's actually disordered eating, right? Like these competitors are kind of exasperating, like the actual symptoms when not having that game plan post show. So making sure you do set up with your coach. Every coach has a coach, y'all. Okay. Listen to what she just said.
Definitely.
Okay? We all need guidance. We all need someone to support in our corner to be able to go to and have a second pair of eyes. Heck, 6 pairs of eyes, right? It's okay.
Yeah, definitely. Look, and anyone that knows me knows that I have an extensive team. And like I've talked about before on a podcast here with you, it's not for everyone what I do and how I do it, because I have so many individualized people in specific zones, right? That doesn't work for most people because they won't all talk to each other. And unless you have the knowledge that I have to know how to communicate between them all and then connect them, it won't work, right? So I'm very blessed that I can do that. But that's not for everyone. I'm actually really lucky that my osteopath and the one that's been rehabbing me and doing all of my programming, so my actual training programming to keep my back and then pre and post, you know, partum the whole recovery and rehab of my, you know, uterus and midsection. He's actually coming over for the show and for my peak, so that's great. He's going to physically be there to help treat me because we have recognized that I may have a little bit of breakdown in my structure. I might start having some exacerbated issues with my back. I may have a few niggles with this hamstring tendinopathy that I've been nursing. These things may flare up, right? Because EA is going to be really low, body's healing rate and recovery rates are compromised. There's so much down regulation that this will be a thing. So he's going to be there to treat me. You know, we'll push through my final sessions while we're in the Bahamas together, which is great. So I love that. I love that he gets to come on this journey with me, and I'll share him a lot on my social media. So you'll all get familiar with him. He's very good at what he does. So, you know, there's a reason I'm able to do what I can do now, and safe and pain-free and no back flare-ups because I haven't had any, knock on wood. It's largely been the work I've been doing with him. So he's been phenomenal. And then I've got, you know, just a really great team around me that have supported me this whole journey. Kayla, who we've had on the podcast, she has been imperative for all of my programming pre and postnatal with the things relevant to pelvic floor and in particular, you know, the pubic symphysis issues, and still navigating some of my core related work post the baby and post the C-section. So that's, you know, another element. Then I've got my rehab physios, 2 of them that I work with that are doing all the deep transverse rehab. So, and that oblique sling correction work, I've been working with them on. So when it does come time to do my thank you at the end of this journey, there's going to be a long list of people that have contributed. It has taken a village to build.
Oh yeah, every time, man.
A village for my comeback. It has been.
You realize this at the end of, the journey never ends, but at the end of, let's say that this first goal, which is Atlantic City, and we only get better from it, but we realize, man, the support, the coaches, the therapists, everybody that's in our corner are really the ones that made us essentially shine on stage, because we do the work, but we wouldn't be able to do the work we do without that support of the team. And that's exactly how I felt even going into this world. Like we talked about multiple times, like, I mean, heck, like the therapy was probably more what we have to focus on than the actual stimulus and intensity of training, because you and I both go balls to the wall, and we love to do that, and it's like we couldn't. We have to, like, when you can't, you're still
it's so frustrating going in second and first and second gear, and you go from first gear to second, and then you're like, oh shit, I've got to go back down again, can't go up again. So but frustrating.
Listen, everyone deals with this, y'all. Like it's about your decision whether you're going to let it break you, or you're going to actually break through it. And you have to understand that there's going to be things that may not feel your best mentally, and Allie's really showcasing it through grit, through actual action, and she's walking the talk, and she's Look, I know it's tough as fuck. Like what she's doing.
Perfect example. Like when I have to give a massive shout out to Jacinta. She is my right hand lady in my business. Also my best friend, godmother to George. But she is a fucking beast, mate. She's in her off season, and she's just literally turning up and doing ridiculous 1.5 walks with me in the morning to go get coffee. That's her reward I give her, is to go get coffee on the walk. And then she's turning up and doing these dumbass cycle spew classes with me. And
she's really supportive
with me on her day off work, where I'll be like, I've got to get this class in today. She'll do the walk with me in the morning, then come back to me later that night to go to cycle class with me. She doesn't need to be doing these things, but she knows how important it is that I get to the stage in the condition I need to be competitive to win, right? So she's just like, it's all hands on deck, the entire team. So her, some of my very closest friends, Alex and Carrie are great. They will always message and be like, they've created a little Instagram chat group called the Step Club. And basically we catch up with them now to do steps. So they're on my journey with me. Then my other girlfriend will want to go to the markets where we do my steps on a Saturday morning. So it's literally all hands on deck. There is not a single person in my inner circle who is not A, supporting me, but B, proactively being part of the journey. Like they're proactively coming at me with options and ideas, and Jacinta will rock up and be like, so I've been thinking about it, and I think maybe we need to do this. And she'll have some random fucking herb or supplement or something. She'll be like, let's throw this in. Let's do this.
Find you those friends, people. Make sure you have those type of people in your life.
I wanted to talk about that because this is a really big thing that we see, and you see it, babe, as a coach. People that don't have good support networks will never be successful. It is just too hard. If you don't have people in your corner, like I just described, change your circle, move. You're not a tree. You don't have roots. Get up and walk away from them and set your roots down where you actually are going to be validated, your goals supported, and your dreams, boosted, because they're the people you want to be with. They're the people, and you would do those things for other people most of the time. If you actually went internal, you'd be like, I would do this and probably more for this person. So it's nice to get people that do it back for you. It's super important. And like, look at my partner. I've talked about him a million times. He's really good. He will do my food. He'll have it ready on time. He, like when he knew that I was having issues being productive with output increasing, that it was going to become a problem, he corrects it and goes and gets me the attachment for my treadmill. Like, you need people like this. You need people like this,
finder, right? And and the thing is, it's not everybody like is gonna have this amazing family and amazing friendship, right? That just uproots itself. Like Ali said, you do have to move yourself if you're not in those kind of scenarios and have that environment. You have to get out of where you're at, create a new environment. That's what we're referring to. But it's more about, if you don't have those people, it's okay to be alone. And I think that so many people are scared to be alone and walk alone on this journey. And I find that it's actually probably one of the best things. And I probably secluded too many people out of maybe my first few years. And it was actually more intentional because I didn't feel like anybody aligned with my
no
goals
one
and they
got
didn't
it.
understand. And I didn't have time to go make new friends, to be honest. Like I just didn't have.
Yeah, but look at how many you've made through the process,
through competing,
right?
exactly.
So this is the other thing I say.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah, find your community, right? So just instead of staying where you are and feeling unsupported, just slowly start to become present in other environments where those people already sit, because you'll pick them up.
And I'm sure your team feels this way. They just feel like it's like a little sisterhood, right? Like you've created a culture. And that's where I feel super, super proud and very just prideful in our team, like just how everyone is really extremely family oriented. They all support each other and are there to actually have the culture. It's not just a competitive type of standpoint. I feel like when we go into the competitions, right, everybody at some point wants to like look at each other as competitors versus on a team. If they're on, coaching team or I don't know, overall, like still doing the same thing, same lifestyle, you're going to feel more support rather than a competition
100%.
from that team.
It really
so just
is.
find that community, make
really
sure maybe if you don't have it, like Ali mentioned, an amazing support system that she has going on right now, which is going to make her successful. And I find that everything that she mentioned being extreme, but very
extreme.
And it's real. And I love that
caveating this entire podcast today that, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I would never program like this. I would never have a client do this. I would never recommend this. I wouldn't endorse it. I would not. And if I hadn't already had fully committed to it and jumped headfirst into the waters of some very deep water, I would have, maybe gone, all right, maybe I go for another show with more time frame, but I'm not that person. And once I commit, I'm committed. So I'm there.
I love that about you though. I love that about you. So you are a boss because of it. That makes you the real queen. Okay. Like you actually are.
Well, I'm coming back for that.
Retirement.
I'm throwing it out there for those that haven't heard it. I'm coming back for that. That title will be mine again next year. I'm fighting my ass off for it. So this comeback of mine, it starts with Atlantic City. It definitely does not end there because I will be in the best starting position. So just you think about this. When I put that physique on stage in December, right? Just you think this thought. That's her starting point for Worlds.
I know it.
That's her starting point for Worlds. Now that's a pretty cool thought.
Shaking in their boots, you guys.
That's motivation for me. It's motivation. I'm really motivated by that. I'm super, super excited to see what I bring to Worlds because I know what
that's the end goal.
It's going to be way better.
Goal to have her come back was the Worlds was the goal, and I know
Worlds is the actual.
It's crazy enough. I probably can see her even saying, you know what, I'm going to do another pro-am, and
you know what? Don't laugh.
I already see her
Don't laugh.
She's gonna
probably will.
I know you will. Like I already know you. I just know you. She's gonna get off at Atlantic City and she's gonna tell Steph, I'm either whatever the spring.
Doesn't it sound familiar though, Steph? Don't you recall back in 2016? I did Atlantic City. I got off the stage. I came in.
I saw you in LA.
In LA. I got off the stage, came in even better, and won Worlds. So who's to say I won't do the trifecta again?
I just already see it, but you know what? Let's watch and see. Let's get the popcorn out, guys, and we're out for a show. If you haven't been following Alicia, she has been updating everybody on her social media. Keep up with her journey, and obviously share as much as you possibly can. I'm interested to see this freaking 1,100,000 calories.
Oh my God, babe, it's crazy. So what I will do over the course of the next week, I'm just going to pick a random day, one of my many days, because they all look slightly different, but they all have the same sort of targets, right? That metabolically I've got to hit. So I will go through a day and I'm going to share it. I'll do a day in the, life of a 1,100 calories.
You know I am with social media.
I'll share what it looks like. And then, I'll share what it looks like. And then I'll go through, how I'm actually structuring food around the course of that day to survive it, because that's the other thing too. It's timing.
I'm sure everyone's interested. And how you're spreading them out, how you're timing them out throughout the day.
Because I think that'll be interesting for people to see. I do want to make a note of this though. I am embracing hunger. So this is something that a lot of people I see run away from, or they go, fuck, I'm hungry. I've got to go fill that gap. I can't possibly feel this way. They'll tell you that they feel like they're going to vomit, that they're going to pass out. Let me tell you this, you're never ever going to vomit and pass out from not eating for 5 minutes. And if you have a slight deficit, that's not going to do that to you either. It's just literally that you don't know what that feels like because you're not used to it. But I have welcomed it. It's been a long time since I felt hunger. I haven't felt hunger in 2.5 years. It's a long time, and it's refreshing to feel it because I feel grateful for the food I am eating. I feel grateful that I'm in a position to always have food. I feel blessed by my life. I feel blessed by my, situation in this life, and it gives you gratitude. And I feel all of those things. 100%. Then I also feel like I have choice. I have this really profound level of control over the quality of my food now. So I find the concept of making my meals even more enjoyable because the way I'm constructing my day and my plate, it all has purpose and strategy, and it's nurturing and fueling and built for this vehicle of mine to perform this race that I'm about to race and hopefully kick ass and win in, right? So I'm looking at hunger from a completely different perspective. And I wanted to share that because most people fear hunger and they run from it. And most people also go, I can't handle it. But my challenge to you all is reframe the way you see it, because hunger equals success in this sport. And if you don't have hunger, then you're most likely probably not even in a deficit. And you're also probably needing to do a little bit of work to touch back into understanding the cues in your body, because you're probably not even recognizing cues in your system, right? So I'm not endorsing crazy starvation diets and hunger for long periods of time, not at all. But what I am saying is that in the purpose of this sport, it's necessary. It must be present. It shouldn't be feared. You shouldn't bridge the gap of hunger and go eat something because you felt sick and like you needed it. It's rubbish.
That's your mental state telling you that you need to go back to maintenance, quote unquote.
Yeah,
right?
correct.
In reality, you just got yourself out of a deficit. So you were creating the deficit and you just closed it. So you actually need hunger. If you don't have appetite, if you don't have those hunger cues, if you're not freaking hungry at some point or get hangry and you don't know what hangry means,
then you're not even doing
it right. So make sure hunger is part of it.
You'll notice that you'll go through phases where that adaptation will occur, and you'll obviously have a level of down regulation if you're dieting for chronic periods of time and or aggressively like me, and you might get a little more comfortable in the hunger. That's usually a sign there's time to turn something up, whether it's turning up the volume on output or whether or not it's reducing down calories again. Sometimes both, sometimes one or the other. But that's all normal and should be taking place. At a certain point through 2 stage, you really should always feel an element of hunger, always. Like that's just going to happen. So my hunger is intense, but I am 100% leaning into it. And I'm actually, this is going to sound mental, but I'm actually kind of enjoying it. And I'm actually,
that just makes you a champion. That just makes you know that the hunger is part of that success.
I'm actually enjoying.
Isn't that crazy?
Like the actual difficulty of this prep is intense, but I'm actually getting stuff out of it. I'm actually thriving in it.
That means that you're actually pushing your potential. You're going to reach a threshold you probably haven't reached before, because you're pushing at a level and an intensity that, again, you haven't ever done before for a prep. So I actually believe
exactly
the heat is going to be more than what you expect, because as a coach, you know that there's actual expectations and then there's like, holy shit, what happened kind of moments, right? Like, and when those moments happen, you're like, oh my God, I'm so proud. And you just know everything fell into place because of all your hard work is now showing.
I think that's exactly what it is for me. Like, I think the way that I'm looking at it is this, right? All right, for argument's sake, say I get there and for whatever reason, I don't get the win. I'm just going to throw this. It's a pure hypothetical. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Say I don't. I'm actually not even going to be upset about it, because I will have known that there was nothing more that I could do in the 10 weeks I had post the baby and the C-section, that there was nothing more I could have. I am leaving nothing on the table. There is nothing more I could ask from myself in order to be any better than what my final presentation will be, right? So I'm fucking proud of myself. Like I'm beyond proud of myself for what I'm doing. And it's insane. I actually have moments where
All
I look
that
at myself
matters
and I
though,
question
Allie, what
sanity.
you just said.
But I feel proud.
That's
right?
what that's the cue though.
And
like,
then if I win,
no matter what comes out of it, you're proud because
exactly.
of what
It's true.
you've done.
Like
I'm
chasing a win, yes. But I had this conversation with Christos where I said, you know, for the first time ever, asking myself, are you mentally prepared for a non-win? And I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm actually fucking good. Like, I'm actually really happy with what I will have achieved. And what I'm looking for is twofold. I would like to prove that it can be done and that I can win. And I still believe with every fiber of my being that I can win this. So I'm going for the win. That's facts. But if I don't get it, I'm actually going to be good. Like, because I'm going to be really proud of me. I already am. So I've already won in a sense, right? But I also want to know that when I stand on that stage and my child is in the audience and he will literally have been one day over 5 months old, that's a profound achievement. That is profound.
More than profound.
Like
that is
isn't that crazy?
Probably record breaking. I don't even know if any other, I want to know if there's another competitor out there that any of you listeners know of that has got off of having a C-section and got within 5 months on a stage and look like nearly, and I want to say nearly at the caliber that Allie's going to bring a package. If so, send that page over to my page, and I would love to see who this person is.
You want to get them on the podcast?
I would love to bring them on the podcast. If there's anyone that you know of that got on the stage within even 6 months, honestly, like I think that alone, because I know, imagine what you would have been able to do with an extra 4 weeks, Allie. Like,
100%, babe. 100%. Like if I had had an extra 4 weeks, I would have brought something better than my last Worlds. That's facts. Because all of my measurements are showing the mass increase in my lower half, and I brought my upper body down. So I would have had a better physique than my last Worlds. So how cool is that though, knowing that the foundation is there to be better than my last Worlds, to bring back to Worlds and even better than that come August next year. It's pretty cool. I'm super excited. So look, I think that's my journey so far.
You're getting us all pumped, Allie. We all just want to see this package now.
My goal is to do myself and my family proud, and that I literally just want to be a role model for my team. And I largely want to show what's coming to August. So everyone, you know,
I am pumped. I cannot wait. I'm getting my popcorn ready. Hope you guys too, and make sure you're following.
I also want to say, you know, look, for anyone watching this, which I'm super happy about, I actually have more time with my son in this prep process and as a whole than I had with my daughter. So when I had my daughter, I got on stage when she was 7 months old. So I was on stage she was 7 months old. She was just over 6 months. So I had more time than I had with this baby. And I also didn't have a C-section. So I was back in the gym after 3 weeks. So I had a much longer prep time, right? It didn't look anything like this. It was way better than this process. But I was working different sort of, I had 2 physical studios. So I was physically present inside of studios. I didn't have as much time with her. I couldn't train with her in a home gym like I can now. So I didn't get as much time with her in my prep. But I haven't missed a thing. I've been there. He had his first rollover today. I've been there for all of his first sounds, every single milestone. He's physically been with me. So I haven't missed a fucking thing. And I've been able to breastfeed right up until, you know, only very recently when supply dwindled because my deficit was just too high. I've been able to breastfeed. I was breastfeeding him in between sets in my gym while I trained. Like,
I saw that.
so I just want everyone to know that, you know, he's been integral and he's been on the journey, and I have spent more time with him than I would have perceived possible, and it makes me so happy. Like, I don't think I would enjoy this like I currently am if I was removed from him too much, and I'm not, and it's been lovely. And then what has also been nice is that, you know, my husband to be, He gets quality time with him when I'm in a physio appointment, or I'm in a hands-on for 45 minutes to an hour. He gets quality dad time, and he's a great dad. So this kid is smothered in love and attention and time, and he's with us in our office and with us all day while we work. And if he's not, you can see Jacinda pacing in the background behind me with him in her arms, because if he's not with one of us, he's being hugged by a godmother. And it's been a wonderful part, to have him play in this process too. So I just wanted to throw that out there too, because if anyone's watching my stuff, you'll see him constantly featured in everything.
Love George. We can never get enough of him.
He's so
literally
cute.
the cutest.
I also wanted to say that because I wanted to also show that it is possible to have and to juggle and to, make it work when you've got that fresh new little being in your life too. And you don't have to feel this guilt about having, any time for yourself. You can take them in on the journey, and it can just be something as simple as walks or, doing home workouts, but they can physically be with you if you're worried about that. And I only say that because I have had a couple of clients postpartum that have had this really insane level of guilt about doing anything.
Workout.
Yeah.
Away from them. And there's different scenarios, of course. I think there's going to be, probably figuring out how to get those moments in, like Ali's saying, maybe those walks, or maybe some little home body weight, home workouts, setups, or something like that, to be able to monitor the way she has been able to. So it's about navigating, finding support system, an actual process. Make sure you follow it. You take it day by day.
Boxes. Day by day, tick the boxes.
You have a plan. You are executing the plan, and you only focus on one day at a time. You don't look ahead. You don't overstress on what's to come, on will I be ready. If you don't believe in your actual ability, and you don't believe in your own self, if you believe that you're going to quit and essentially stop, then there's probably going to be some doubt. And I think that that's really where it comes down to. If you are confident enough, knowing that you aren't going to give up on yourself that day, if you can just take it again, one day at a time, like we're talking about, and it being actually you facing one day, not 4 weeks, not 8 weeks, not 10 weeks, and not 2.
This even is where I think those midweek check-ins with yourself are important too, because then you're not letting it go even one whole week, right? Before you can correct something. If something's a little off midweek, you can be like, oh crap, I'm down in my minutes for that half of the week in cardio. I better step it up for the next half of the week. Or my sleep has suffered, and all of a sudden I haven't dropped what I calculated I should drop. I'm focusing on sleep for the next 3 nights, right? It doesn't always have to be reducing more food. It's got to be what are the other variables contributing to it, but you can catch it up faster.
Variables, y'all. And if you aren't tracking, notice how everything we're referring back to is data. And we're talking about tracking her sleep, tracking her caloric burn, tracking her caloric intake, tracking her steps, just overall any data she can actually intake and track.
The other thing I track, too much information, but stuff it. I'm sharing everything. I may as well share this. I track my bowel movements.
You have to. Okay, thank you for saying it, because it's probably a daily topic I have with multiple clients every freaking single day. It's like,
I tend to see the trend between frequency or change in type, stool type, to sleep, stress, and output. So if my recovery is affected, usually that's affected. But then the relevance of this, people, for everyone listening that has freakouts about fluctuations on scales, is if I know I've had 700 grams between lunch and dinner in food volume, and I haven't fucking passed any movement, if my scale hasn't gone down, do you think that I think I haven't dropped body fat? No. I look at my food and go, there we go. It's still sitting in the transit.
It's sitting in my intestines. And look, and this is another one, or
good to know.
We'll quickly just touch it, because this is a complete other just whole segment of a podcast that we're going to have to talk about bowels, y'all, and it will be that touchy subject. But
we'll do a poo one. Let's do a poo podcast.
This is totally going to be a poop episode not next one, but at some point, because one thing that it does get to me that competitors may, and if you're listening and you are a competitor and you are not going regularly and your bowels are not normal, you have to get that sorted. You are never going to look your best. You are not going to actually be digesting and absorbing all of the foods and meals you're eating. You can be doing all the work. You can be doing all the cardio. You can be eating the little amounts of food, but guess what? You're not passing it. It's stuck. That actual shit is stuck in your stomach. So
and then you also need to consider, why is it happening, right? So what's causing that? What's going on in the gut itself?
So you hitting the scale with the, food in your intestines, all these things, which deserves a whole episode, y'all. So we will talk about
that at another point in time, but I just wanted to quickly share with you that I monitor my poo.
Oh, hey, you should track everything, you guys. Make sure you're tracking your sleep, monitoring, of course, your stress levels. If you are having some, extra stress in life, maybe trying to manage it by reducing your cortisol levels through actual supplementation, vitamins, minerals, all the things that you're even noticing Allie's having to supplement in as she's down regulating her immune system and her body.
And let me know if you're listening to this and there's anything you specifically would like me to cover off, anything you'd like me to share more of, you want me to start sharing like what I'm taking from a vitamin and supplement and mineral point of view, why I'm taking it, when I'm taking it, I'm happy to share. So pop things into comments into our posts, direct message us. We're open to that. And then we'll do little segment podcasts from some of the topics we've sort of touched on lightly today. One of them being our poo episode.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
Why not?
Totally
and then, look, I think I will continue to share some of those more targeted information based, posts on my social media for you all, because look, like I said, it's a very unique prep. There's some cool stuff, and then there's some just grind stuff too. But I am sharing it all. I'm being very open and very honest with all of you about how I'm going, and that this is just the first little, stop really on what was the true comeback, which is for Worlds next year.
I love it, Allie. Well, I love watching your journey, and I love seeing you so far. And everyone, thank you for listening. Thank you guys for just supporting our podcast and just listening in, being interested in Allie and I's life, as well as just the topics and things. So please share anything you guys want us to really be covering. And we want to know any feedback. Honestly, I think the feedback's always welcome. I love seeing those little commentaries of how boosted and motivated, or it just helps them throughout the day listening to us. So it's very, very needed to hit those kind of commentaries sometimes. So thank you guys for those of you that have already sent us those nice, sweet messages. But we support all of you, and we want everyone to know it's possible. It's about having a plan, having support, and really just finding a community that allows you to chase those dreams, chase those goals, and be healthy. It's about having a very, very healthy lifestyle around this.
So just before we go, Stephanie, for everyone that actually watches on YouTube, say,
oh my gosh.
Say hi, Georgia. Say hi, honey, Steph. He just woke up. Have a look at his Halloween outfit, babe.
God, I can't with his hair. He has more hair than I have seen on any baby.
Isn't he the cutest thing on the planet, though?
I can't. Okay, you guys. I'm overloaded with cuteness. Now I just want to go through the screen.
He can't wait for Auntie Steph and Uncle Kerry hugs very, very soon.
I cannot. Oh my gosh, y'all. Just get onto the YouTube. Just look at this cuteness overload if you want to hop on. Follow the podcast. Subscribe.
Bye, everybody.
Your faces.
Bye. See you, babe.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Queen Divas, Queens of Fitness podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Queen Divas Pod, on Twitter at Queen Divas 4, and follow our hosts on Instagram, Alicia at Alicia Gowans _ WBFF Pro, and Steph at Stephanie Ayala 7. See you all next week.